Tēnā koutou katoa, good evening. Pressure is mounting on the New Zealand government to force travellers from China to provide a negative COVID-19 test before coming here. It comes after Australia, the UK, Canada and the US put the requirement in place because of China's escalating case numbers, driving fears that a new variant might emerge that evades immunity. Alexa Cook reports.
China's streets are chocker once more. People are finally allowed out after years of lockdowns and quarantine camps. This resident says she hasn't seen this many people in a long time. But with the sudden lifting of restrictions ahead of China's border reopening on January 8th for the Lunar New Year, cases there have skyrocketed.
That provides an opportunity for this virus to mutate and to create new variants that could possibly endanger the rest of the world.
Which is why Jerry Jung from Wellington has decided not to go home to China for the celebration.
I'm not sure what kind of, variant strain there, so I really worried about if I go back to China, probably I will get infected again.
A cautious approach that's being seen worldwide. In the UK, Canada, the US and Australia, it'll soon be mandatory for travellers from China to provide a negative test result.
We've struck the right balance here to make sure that we have as much information as we possibly can get about this very fast evolving situation in China.
But New Zealand is yet to decide if it'll follow suit. A public health risk assessment by the Ministry of Health has been completed and ministers are being briefed this evening. Although experts say it isn't a complex decision and pre-departure testing is the right move.
It's important then to identify infected people so they don't get on that flight, and that reduces the impact in New Zealand. It also protects the other travellers on those flights from being infected.
There's also concern that China is failing to share detailed data about its COVID situation.
I think people are particularly concerned about the lack of genomic sequencing being shared with the rest of the world, and that is the way in which we identify at a very early stage the possibility of new variants of COVID emerging.
One of the difficulties is that China has not been transparent about the intensity of its pandemic wave.
A difficulty that needs to be overcome as Lunar New Year celebrations are likely to drive cases and deaths even higher.
So Alexa, when can we expect that decision about pre-departure testing?
Well, an answer was actually expected today, but now because the advice from the Public Health Risk Assessment is being mulled over by ministers this evening, it's looking more likely that we can expect a decision to be made public tomorrow. Now, I asked both the government and the National Party for interviews today, and they both declined. However, Christopher Luxon has said publicly that he actually backs the move to require tests of people travelling from China to New Zealand. As for people going the other way, people travelling from New Zealand back to China, well, experts are warning them to be extra careful and also to be prepared for the fact that because their health system is so overloaded in China, if they actually need some medical help when they're there, that could be quite hard to get.
Alexa, tēnā koe.